Hello, everybody. Welcome, witches. Welcome, welcome, one and all, to the Witches Movie Coven. We are here. You are here. Grab your goat, grab your drink. It is so good to have you here because tonight we are going to be talking about witchcraft in cinema. Yes, grab drinks, goats, whatever it may be. Whatever gives you comfort, whatever makes you happy in these dark, trialing times. We are glad you are here. At least I am. I know, I guess we all are. I guess I can speak for the coven for that. Speaking of the coven, I am Patty Negri. I am
Patty.
not Patty Negri.
How do you look so different?
I know, right?
The mustache is new. I like it.
Yeah,
It's fetching.
brand new.
It was my grandmother. She was born with it. At any rate, I am not Patty Negri. Patty Negri is away being at a movie premiere, doing witchy things at movie premieres. I am one of your hosts. My first name is Richard Lael. Richard Lael is one name, not two. If I were just Richard, I would be a... That is right. Thank you so much for all of those little bleeps. I am known as the Gentleman Psychic. You can find me at thegentlemanpsychic.com. You can find me for personal bookings and readings there. You can find me. I'm so easy to find. Thank you for laughing at my jokes. I am. You might have seen me on Ghost Adventures. You might see me here in New Orleans. You might hear my voice on a certain clip saying that I would never worship a god. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go right over here to my beautiful coven mates. I'm going to start with Ms. Heather Green.
Hi, I am Heather Green. I am the author of, where's my book? Here it is, Lights, Camera, Witchcraft. This is the definitive guide to everything witchy and witchcraft in Hollywood cinema, in a critical history of witches in American film and television. I don't know the subtitle of my own book. And and I am also an editor at Llewellyn Worldwide, working with many witchy authors, as well as a journalist covering things in the occult and other kinds of witchcraft fun. I am also, I'll just jump in and say I am also the editor, and also I wrote the foreword for Dollcraft, and Patty's not here to show off her new book, so I'll just throw it out there. Here is Dollcraft. This is a witchy guide to puppet magic and haunted dolls. Both Patty and I are doll fanatics and enthusiasts, as well as haunted dolls, and she wrote this wonderful book, so I thought I'd throw that out there since she's not here to do it.
Jason Menke.
Jason is the head of sales with no sound. Crazy.
I'm the head of sales for the Witches Movie Coven. If you'd like to advertise on the Witches Movie Coven, just send me an email at panmankey@gmail.com. When I'm not busy as head of sales, I'm an author. This is my 10th book, High Priest, a biography of Raymond Buckland, which I've been told is the best biography ever written about Raymond Buckland.
Wow.
And the only one.
And now we go right down to Ms. Courtney Buckley.
That's me. I'm Courtney Buckley, the author of exactly 0 books. So there's that. I am Ghostbait on Scared and Alone. And this week, Down the Witch's Road is where you can find me. Or at the Themes on all the things.
And you may notice, of course, that Ms. Patty Negri is not amongst us. So we will go to our other semi-regular guest. We go over to the lovely Miss Tabitha Meadows.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Tabitha Meadows, and I am a medium and psychic, and I am here for more Mystic Shields.
I am so glad that you are here. Shields. Tonight we are going to be talking about 2024 and Agatha All Along. We will get into a little bit of that, but if you have come this far and you are enjoying what we do, or you have come here frequently, we get that all the time. People get people don't realize that they're not actually logged in, or they're not signed up or hitting the follow, the like, the comments. We appreciate you. I know we're in the comments we've got already. Melissa, we've got Scared and Alone. Yay. Jason Menke. Oh, how funny that is. We have got Melissa, Christy. I don't know if I'm seeing everyone. Tabitha Meadows is here, of course. Thumper is here. The Beams, Ryan James, Amber. Kelly Amber, I'm sorry. Anyway, we see you there. Mary Jane is here. We've got so many comments that have already started. Keep that up. That helps us to continue to do what we do. We love it. So we are going to be talking about Agatha All Along. And this is the point where Patty Negri would discuss a little bit about that. And then she would say, now, Richard Lale, do you happen to have an unbiased synopsis of tonight's showing or film or whatever it would be? And since it's a series, it would be series. And I would say, do I ever have an unbiased opinion about tonight's show? So we are doing Agatha All Along 2024. My unbiased opinion is as follows. It could have been an email.
Oh.
It could have been an email.
I don't know where are my sunglasses?
Where are your sunglasses, Courtney?
I don't have them. Oh my God, hold on. I'm a resourceful witch. I'll make do with what I have.
Rio, I think I'm coming with you.
I will tell you, it was incredibly difficult for me to sit and watch television because I don't have a television. I don't like them because it does not fit with my Victorian aesthetic. However, I was dragged kicking and screaming not only into the 20th century, but into the 21st century. So now this is my full-on unbiased synopsis. A white woman, a black woman, an Asian woman, an Italian woman, a random woman, and a gay Jewish kid walk into the woods.
Oh, no.
And you think that sounds like the setup for a joke, but it really is not. These 6 people walk into the woods because this is what you have, this road that is open. And the overall synopsis is that all of these witches, they have to form a coven of 5 plus a familiar. And this coven of 5 plus the familiar all must go on this road to find something. And it all centers around Agnes Harkness. Of course, if you are a Marvel fan, I am not, because I don't think Marvel is marvelous. But if you liked WandaVision, which I did like, you would like this because it is the continuation of the story. This is the sort of Disneyfication of what they do with all of their properties, the backstory, what created them. They're not really necessarily that evil. In the last one, Agatha Harkness was pure, unadulterated evil for the sake of being evil, much like the Wicked Witch of the West in Wizard of Oz. In the original 1939 film, was wicked for the sake of being wicked. And then you have Wicked on that story. So each of these witches have a trial that they have to overcome. All of their visions are tailored to what they are dealing with, whether it be an ancestral curse, whether it be tarot lessons, whether it be unbinding, whether it be finding your brother, finding your power, whatever it may be, they have a trial that they have to go through. And spoiler alert, 2 witches live. In the end, I'm not going to tell you which 2 witches are alive because they're all dead. All of the witches are dead.
Which witches?
The what? What? When? 2 witches.
Which witches?
2 witches are alive, and that is where I will leave it. However, I will also say, in all of the trials, the first trial actually was my nightmare. It was this beautiful, Dutch colonial revival seaside mansion with whitewashed walls and pastels and scented candles. I am telling you, I thought I was in hell.
Richard Lell would have been guzzling that poison on purpose to get out of it.
Right? It just did not look at those whitewashed walls. However, I digress. I will say that through all of these trials that each of them had to go through, something valuable was garnered in each and every episode that you as a witch might be able to use in your own practice. And I say might because there's a caveat coming on. And with that, to give a little bit more information, a little bit more rounded history, the lovely Heather Green.
Oh, my turn.
Oh,
Okay.
Your turn.
Let me put these goats to the side. They're getting in the way. So, yeah, there's some things now this is kind of like giving information about Star Wars. When you give information about Marvel, everybody knows all the details because there's such a big fandom. Marvel is the most popular fandom at this point. And I think it's actually earned the Marvel universe has earned the most amount of money of all the universes. So, I'm just going to do some brief things, and I think there's some things we're going to talk about and bring up anyway. So first of all, as Richard Lale says, this is a spinoff from WandaVision, and WandaVision took off from the end of Endgame, the Marvel movie Endgame, kind of led to WandaVision, the death of Vision led to that, which then led to this. And you can watch this series without those, but it's really nice if you haven't watched them and you want to. It does lead to a better understanding as you go into this particular series. And I'd like to correct Richard Lale when he called this TV. This is actually called a mini series. It's actually a series similar to a serial film that was very much an early 20th century feature. So you could actually consider this a serial from the early 20th century. Might give you a little bit more of a love of this type of. It's not actually a TV show. I'm just messing with you, Richard Lale.
To be fair, I actually haven't watched television since about the time television was invented. Okay.
Well, we can talk about how you managed to do that. We can manage how you did that in another time. But this is considered a mini series, and it was ran in 2024, and it is part of Marvel. So that's the key stuff you need to know about the basis of this. It was Agatha herself is not created by this TV. She was actually created for the comics by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. She first appeared as a witch in the Fantastic Four number 94 in 1969. She was considered to be one of the Salem witches from the trial. So that was her origin. I can already see. I knew there was going to be eye rolling on that one, but that is her origin. She is from the comics. She was not created. You would think maybe she was created at this point in time because witches are popular in movies. No, she was not. She is a witch from the comics herself. And here she is for the first time in these later Marvel pieces that we see. She appears in these later ones. So I think the big thing to talk about here that's going to take the most amount of time is the actual actors, because there's some heavy hitters here and some great, well-loved characters. So first of all, Catherine Hahn. I love Catherine Hahn in Bad Moms. She is absolutely phenomenal in that. And I love Bad Moms from the beginning to the end in all kinds of ways. She's also in Glass Onion, Parks and Rec, Wanderlust. I've mentioned that movie and I recommended it a bunch of times on this show, as well as Step Brothers and Anchorman. We've seen her there. And so she's a comedic actress. She's brilliant at what she does. And she appears here as Agatha, or Agnes in her other format. There she is. Patti LuPone. When I think of Patti LuPone, I think of Broadway, and she's won 3 Tony Awards, 2 Grammys, 2 Olivers. She is a Broadway actress with an incredible voice. When I think of her, I think immediately of Evita. She is, and that's what she won her Tonys for, as Eva Perón. And her voice is, if you haven't heard her sing, you need to listen to her sing. She also was Rose and Gypsy. She was in Company and won awards for that. She has been in other TV shows and movies, but when most people think of Patti LuPone, they think of Broadway, because that's where she just stars. And she considers herself an actress before being a singer, a Broadway singer, which strikes me as really strange. But I think of her as a Broadway star, and she is incredible. She plays Lilia here. And then you have Aubrey Plaza. Aubrey is one of the younger actors. She plays Rio. What's the last name? Rio. There she is. I won't tell you. And yeah, well, I wasn't going to give that away, but okay. She plays Rio in this, and she's been. If you've watched White Lotus, she was in the second season as one of the main characters of White Lotus. She is also in Parks and Rec, and she's going to be in a movie that is, or I don't know if it's out yet. It's called Honey Don't, an Ethan Coen movie. I haven't seen it, but she is in that, and she's around a lot right now. Joe Locke, of course, playing Teen, Billy, or Wiccan. I remember when this first started, everybody was like, who is he? Who is Teen? Who is Teen? And there was all this speculation, and he does a fantastic job. He has the fewest creds among this cast right here. He was pulled from Heartstopper, a Netflix movie that he got lots of awards for. And he did a fantastic job. Of course, Shashir Zamata, Jennifer, she is also does a great job in this. And she was cast in the she was in the Saturday Night Live cast, excuse me. I don't remember her in it, but she apparently was. She was also in The Muppets Haunted Mansion. She has a number of different kinds of creds out there, things she's been in. One of the things I thought was interesting is that she's also is an ACLU ambassador for women's rights, which I thought is a kind of a neat thing for her. And she's in and this is specifically for Jason, I think. She's going to be in the upcoming movie next year, Masters of the Universe. So I figured you might be looking for that one.
I am so frightened of that movie. I am like, they are going to ruin my childhood.
I thought of you immediately when I saw it.
We are going to review it on the show, of course, but they are going to ruin my childhood and my arrested adulthood. Sorry, Heather, please go on.
No, I thought of you immediately when I saw that. I was like, oh, Jason's got to know this is coming. So, of course, then we have Alice, or played by Ali On. She doesn't have a whole lot of major things, but she was in TV shows, a lot of TV shows. The Diplomat, if you haven't seen that, I've seen a few episodes. It's more recent. And she was in some of the episodes of Supernatural, which is, the long-running, very popular show. Finally, last, Deborah Jo Pup. She's Mrs. Hart. Look at her. And when I think of her, I think that 70s show. That's just what I think of. But she has been in so many TV shows over the years, since the 80s. She was also in Big, the movie, if anyone's seen that. She was also apparently in All My Children, but I was a General Hospital girl, so I didn't see her there. But she has been around forever. And again, she's the mom in the 70s show for me. So I loved seeing her here. So outside of that, the last, let's get to number 4. Just a quick thing about the song. Down the Witch's Road, down the Witch's Road. That song was written by Kristen Anderson Lopez and her husband, Robert Lopez. And interestingly enough, what else did they write? Let It Go. Yes, that song. Let It Go, Let It Go. Yes, that song, right, Courtney? And
is this the musical episode of the Witches Movie Coven?
Are we good? Just hold out. It gets better. And they wrote Remember Me from Coco.
Stop. I will stop.
Stop right there.
That's the song. That's the song.
They have written 3 songs that are extremely memorable. And this particular song, Down the Witch's Road, and I wrote an article about this, about Agatha All Along when it was out, is being used now by witches in actual rituals. So it really hits home for a lot of people. And that's another conversation, but that leads me to number 5. Yes, it is. And number 5 is Getting It Right. I have it Getting It Right because this show hits a cultural moment in a very interesting way. And I say getting it right because one, they do their research. And if you look at the visuals, you look at the dialogue, you look at the representations of witches throughout, they are doing stuff that is very recognizable and very dead on for modern witchcraft. Not only that, they're weaving that with folkloric and modern media witchcraft, stuff that I talk about in my book. You have Wizard of Oz, you have The Craft, you have mentions of Pentacles and Ouija and the Tree of Life, and all these things, the elements. You have all of this coming together, seamlessly pinned and weaving in and out of each other throughout this text, throughout this show. That is very interesting. And if you get a chance to look at images of Wiccan's The Teen's room, you can see that all come together in the images in his room. So it really gets it right, not only in terms of outside of the fantastical magic part, but getting it right in terms of herb craft and all these things and practice and all these things, they weave it together. They really get it right. And the other piece they get right, the other moment they hit, and really that's what number 5 is, and we'll talk about that piece, we'll talk about this piece too, is that they also meet the moment with representation of the LGBTQ community. And this is considered one of the best representations of that culture and those aspects as well. Having 2 characters that I think are openly queer. I think it's only 2, but then again, once go to Teen's room, there's a trans.
Well, there's 3.
Rights. 3.
There's 4.
There's 4 because there's 2 sets. So there's.
I meant the main characters. Not the. Is it 3?
Well, there's especially the 3 main.
Teen, Agatha, and Rio. Yeah. Sorry, 3. But if outside of the characters themselves, you also go again to Teen's room. You have a Trans Rights Matter flag. You have a rainbow flag. You have it all throughout
the picture show.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Again, the room is like almost like a microcosm of the whole show and how that's woven together. But yes, so you have those 2 pieces where this show meets the moment in many ways, and I'm sure those things will come up as we talk. So I think that is that's my bit. I hand it over to you, Richard Lale.
Because Heather was just talking about that last bit, and I'm sorry to get like out of order.
No, please go.
I was watching today. I'd seen the show before, and I wanted to at least watch 1 or 2 episodes to catch up. And I saw that scene in the room, and I saw the Trans Lives Matter flag, and I wondered to myself, would Disney have allowed that to be on in 2025, considering how radically things have changed in just less than a year?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, but it's a powerful moment when you see that on a show that was as popular as this, on a streaming service as popular as this, in something as popular as the Marvel Universe. I love that it's there. I wonder if it would be now if the show was just being released.
I had that moment myself, and there were actually several times in Teen's room when I would see. It overwhelmed me. So I agree. I had the same thought.
I feel like every moment of representation in this show, and I just for reference sat down and watched all of the episodes yesterday. So I watched everything all at once. Mm-hmm. And every single time there was any kind of representation, I was like, oh my God. And we would say something out loud about it. And especially that flag in Teen's room, but the fact that like after I finished watching it and I thought about it, like it shouldn't have to be like that. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't have to be such a big oh my God moment. Like Disney's doing this, like what on TV? Like what? It shouldn't have to be that, and it's really sad that it is. But I commend them a lot for all because it was awesome. And I don't think it didn't feel like pandering either. It just felt very natural. And I appreciate that a lot.
It's what you would expect to see in that room, right?
Yeah, right. And everything. No, I was just going to say is that
and I would say too, Patty LuPone.
There we go.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that when we, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so when we
Yes.
talked about the craft legacy, and I write this in my book, and I talk about this in some articles about it, is that the one character who is played by a trans woman, she wrote, when talking about playing the character, is that the craft legacy didn't make it a point to put a highlight or a sign, a flashing sign, like, look, this is a trans actor, or this is a trans character. She just existed in the universe. She was just part of it. And that's what WandaVision does. Not WandaVision, I'm sorry. That's what Agatha All Along does too. There aren't flashing lights. It isn't a point. They're not making an overt message about it. It's just part of the universe. It's just normalized. It's just there. And that is a very powerful statement, I think. And that's what Zoe said about her character in Legacy that she liked. So I think that's what we're reacting to. Please, if you haven't seen Teen's Room, look at Teen's Room. There's pictures of the whole room where you can see all the things in it, and you can see that. It's very strong.
I think that matches up with the overall theme that I feel like this is for me, which is the power to be who you have been all along. I think that's a very important thing, and throughout these shows, coming into who you are and to be who you have been all along. To your point, Heather.
Yeah. And I'm going to say something just to throw it out there. I waited for so many hours to watch Aubrey Plaza, Love of My Life, and Catherine Hahn make out, and they did, and I was excited, and I've not stopped thinking about it since. I've driven around listening to Down the Witch's Road and just reimagining it because it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It was
great
a lot more things than beautiful for me, but yes, it was beautiful.
There it is. There's his room.
And it does look like a teenager's room, I would assume, even though my room looked very much like my house does, but that was because I was an odd one. I was old when I was born. On that, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about Patti LuPone's character, about how she kept going in and out of time. I wanted to say, as a psychic medium myself, that's kind of how I work. I sometimes see things and I know things and I wish I didn't, and then I forget that I knew them. And then people tell me, oh yeah, you told me this. What I want to ask the Coven, I want to pose this question to you. Was there any certain witch trial, road trial rather, that spoke to you the most? What was yours? Whoever wants to go.
Mine was I loved the whole Death Comes for Us All. I really aligned with Lilia, her character, and just wanting to find this need for a collaboration and a community amongst good and kind people. And her teacher, her maestra, told her that she starts to lay the tarot down on the table, and oftentimes, like you were just talking about being psychic or mediumship, there's this thing where you have like imposter syndrome. So she was having imposter syndrome, and her teacher tells her, this is a fiction, and one you tell yourself still. And a lot of us do that. And that's a really important thing to note too, because another thing she said was, you have to remember yourself. And again, it goes back to the power to be who you have been all along. Everything, all your power, your knowledge, everything is within you already. You just have to tap into it. And people don't realize how powerful and how magical us as human beings are. So that that episode hit me really hard. So yeah.
Anybody else? Yes.
I think my trial would have been the generational curse trial that Alice had, because I feel like I found that one really powerful. Like, that spoke to me as far as the way that I grew up and the people that raised me and how differently I've done it. And I feel like that's been my life trial at this point. Like, I broke those curses and I changed it and I did things differently. So now, you know, it is powerful in and of itself, and it was powerful to watch it in that context and realize that, like, maybe I didn't fight a flaming bat demon, but I could.
I'm curious.
Maybe I am
also,
one.
As a mother, Courtney, how did the song affect you? The differences that there were from Alice's mother's version as opposed to the traditional older version in this universe. How did that affect you?
Well, so first of all, the song I'm obsessed with. I got chills the first time when they all chanted it together. I had goosebumps and it hurt. But then watching it be like, it's so hard because I feel like what I should have resonated with was the mother trying to protect her child, but actually what I resonated with was Alice being like, no, I can do it, and then like taking over the song and singing it herself. And God, that feeling that went into it was like, I got a little teary-eyed, honestly. I loved her. I thought she was so badass. I thought that song was so... I have every iteration of that song now on my playlist. I listen to all of them because there are more than one.
Anybody else?
Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, I wasn't going to go at all because I didn't feel like any of these trials were related to me. The only thing I could think of was, I remember when I was in high school, church youth group trip, they let the older teens kind of do whatever they wanted and left us alone. And everybody's like, we need to do a seance. Jason, you're the only person here weird enough to lead a seance, so you need to do it. And so then there's all this pressure from kids that are cooler than me telling me that we need to lead a seance, so I better produce some ghosts. And it worked. We connected that night, and I won my challenge.
Jason,
Stuff that really goes down.
while you were in this sort of 1980s treehouse in this church camp, did you have the good fortune of having the couch from the Roseanne show at your back?
Did not. We were actually in a church, and I think churches are creepy. Like, the treehouse would have been better. But at one point, Jeff Gibbons, not that you know who Jeff Gibbons is, stood up and yelled, "There's my uncle over there. There's my uncle over there." So there was no couch, but there was Jeff's uncle, who was dead. So I feel like, success. It would have been really weird, though, almost, if his uncle had been there and his uncle was alive. Like, why are you in Atlanta? We live in Nashville. Also, why are you wandering this church at 3 a.m. and peeking in on teenagers? That would have been even worse than the ghost, I think.
I'd like to know the answer to that. Honestly.
Yeah, so... yeah, that was my challenge, and I succeeded.
That's a totally different movie, Jason.
Yeah,
right,
it is.
Right. That is the witch that came from the sea, I think.
Yeah. I think my trial would have been closer to Jennifer's in feeling locked from your power and not recognizing it, which may get back to the idea of being not feeling right or not feeling like you can. But a lot of it, I think, her having to break free and break those bonds, and even though her bonds were created by someone else, we can allow other people to create those bonds. People can try to wrangle us and strap us down and keep us from doing what we want, and sometimes we allow that. So in her case, maybe that wasn't the situation, but I think her battle was to break free of bonds. And I think that's symbolic on another level, which we haven't got into because of her character, but also I think that trial was very interesting, and I loved watching her progression, especially as she tried to break free and find the knowledge, especially like in that first one with the herbs. And they kept encouraging her, break free. You know it. You don't need to be on book. You don't need to be. So I think that's a lot of what I connected with. But moreover, getting to the song is that almost everything I do magically includes music. And my very first spell I ever did required a Madonna song.
Oh, yes, we need details. Details.
So we can, you know, so it always involved, I was a dancer. I was in theater and everything. So that translated into my early little person teenage magic. And of course, Madonna was part of that, dancing to Madonna songs and making wishes as a teenager. That's all you're getting, Jason. And
No, I have
But we need
I
to
have like
song.
97
Spill the
stories
tea.
in my head now. Like I've got like all these Madonna songs queued up, wondering how Heather uses them magically. And if we don't get the story, it's going to be a Manky moment bit, and that's going to be much worse for you.
I'm going to wait for the Manky moment bit. I want to see what you come up with. I think
Tonight's
that's
bonus
more
episode. Jason makes fun of Heather for 20 minutes.
Heather, I know you're not going to spill your beans on that one, but I also have a Madonna experience. I was 25, though. I was living in Las Vegas, and I was a stripper. And my stage name was Gabriel, the angel who blows.
Oh my God. I'm living for this right now.
And I had 3 sets that I would do. You had 2 or 3 songs, and I had 3 sets, and my main set was right smack in the middle. And it was my Madonna set. And I started off with these big Victoria's Secret angel wings and a halo and a sarong and gold sandals. And I came out and I would genuflect to Like a Prayer.
Yes.
And then the song would change, and it would be from her Hard Rock Candy tour. And it was, you can call me a sinner. You can call me a saint. Drag me up on the pedestal or drag me down in the dirt. Anyway, that, and then the final song, as I was picking up all of my accoutrement, was not Madonna, but it was an 80s song. Take these broken wings
and learn to fly again.
Yeah, that's
Learn
it.
to live so free.
So I had
This
that
is the musical episode of Witches Movie Coven.
right. It really
I did
is.
not come with a song prepared.
Wait, I got your song right here.
Down, down, down.
No, I got the bell first.
Down the Witches Road.
Hang on. I got
Speaking
your bell.
of that,
Uh-oh.
What?
What?
Seekest thou the road to all that's foul and fair?
Heather is bewitching me right now.
Bravo.
Keep going.
But
Woo!
again, my point was earlier, before I mentioned the thing that got us off track, is that music is so powerful, and they use that in this. And that song, I completely understand why people are using it. And whether you think using pop culture music and pop culture songs and pop culture in magic is not, if you think that's not viable, I'm going to tell you otherwise. And I know that Jason has done rituals with pop culture. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
And people can, if it works for you to get you in the zone, to get you to do the magic,
Absolutely.
and to get, but people are using that song.
I want to talk about how powerful that song is and how
Mhm.
quickly it spread in the witch community. So I was in Vegas for a Samhain soiree. I think it was 2 weeks before Samhain, and they had people in the community come up and sing songs and do dances to songs. And all of a sudden, a dance troupe gets up there and does Witches Road. The show wasn't even over yet. And I think it only been on for like maybe 5 episodes or whatever. And people were already doing it. This is a song that we are going to hear in 20 or 30 years in witchcraft spaces, and maybe forevermore. If there's a legacy to this show more than anything else, it's that song. And you are not going to be able to escape it in witch spaces going forward. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the song resonates for people, and I can't stop singing it as soon as I hear the first couple of words. You're just sucked in.
100%, Jason. I agree.
Also, on that topic, music really is so impactful, because I will tell you, look at the ancient religions. Those of you have the kid who sings he's going through his bar mitzvah. He's 13 and he's singing the what are they called? I'm not Jewish, Heather.
All of a sudden, the names. As soon as you said that, the name went shoop out of my head. Yes.
But you have song in that. With church, you have song. There's a reason, and it's because it creates community and it gets everyone in rhythm with each other. That is what the power of music does. And I will tell you on a funny note. So I have been on Paranormal Investigators, where we're talking investigations, well, I've been on Paranormal Investigators too, but that's another story for another day.
I think that's a story for later today in the after show.
I have been on Paranormal Investigators.
That's our adults. That's our OnlyFans show, which costs a little extra to subscribe.
Sign up for the Patreon, and we'll let you know.
There were I will go to places and they think, oh, I just want some old music, and oh, Frank Sinatra, that's kind of old, and you're playing it from a phone, and then you're asking, how did you die? That irritates me. On a different one, I was with Patty. We walked in to another room, and I actually started singing Big Spender. We were in an old brothel. And the spirits began to be active. Now, it was 1969. It wasn't 1879. But the act of singing does open a portal. That was what I wanted to say with that.
For sure.
It absolutely does. I've just recently started calling myself the music medium, because that is how spirit comes to me more times than not, to get to their loved one, because we all have a song that we can relate to, and it relates to a time and a place. So the moment, all I need is just a few words from the song, and people are right in it. So absolutely, if we're, it's said that we think of us in terms of frequency and vibration. Music truly is everything. As in magic, it definitely should be used in everything, in my opinion.
I actually have a personal story, if I can share, about music in this. My grandmother, my Nana, was the one person on earth before I had my son that I loved more than anything. And when she passed away, she had fought with cancer for a really long time, but she was the kind of woman that she didn't have any hair because of chemo, but she wouldn't even go to the mailbox without a full face of makeup. She could not be seen without any of that. And right before she always wanted to pass away at home and not in a hospital. And her last doctor's appointment she went to, she was too weak. She couldn't put on her own makeup. So my mom was putting on her makeup for her and sang her, as she was doing it, they were both crying, that song, I'll Say a Little Prayer for You. Each morning I wake up before I put on my makeup. So they were both crying. She went to her appointment, and I think that was one of the last times she left the house. And then she had a death that made me not afraid of death anymore. And she was surrounded by loved ones, and we were all holding her. And we had music on, just like kind of in the background. I'm sorry. And she was not coherent. She was like comatose. And I was holding her hand, and my mother wasn't in the room. And she took a breath, and she kind of stopped, and then she squeezed my hand, and she turned her head, and she looked at me in my eyes, and I knew she could see me. And I screamed for my mother, and my mother came in the room, touched her foot, and said, "It's okay, Mom, I'm here." And she turned her head back, took one last breath, and she was gone. And it was beautiful. And we all just sat there looking at her. And as soon as she did that, Say a Little Prayer for You came on the radio. Every single time, my God, this is so embarrassing. Every time I'm having a hard time where she was like my mother, and every time I need my nana, whether I realize it or I don't, that song comes on, and I don't hear it any other time. But I'm talking like when I was in basic training and we didn't have any radios or anything, and nobody knew the story, and I was in medical hold for so long, and I thought I can't do this anymore, and I'm gonna give up, and someone in the shower would start singing it, or I'll randomly be scrolling through TikTok and there will just be like an ad with it on it, or it'll pop up on a commercial on the TV. When it's those days where I feel like I just couldn't possibly get out of bed, and it always comes up. And so I think it is a very powerful magical tool.
Can I say something about that real quick? I think we have open channels. Like, we talk about the connections we make to other people magically, how we create energy channels to other people. And I think one of the ways they're facilitated is through a song, through a particular song. If you think of a person, if you think of a song and then immediately think of a person, that's an energy magical channel you have to that person. That song could create a connection if you need to if you need something from them, if you need to connect to them, if you need, so you have that's one way, a magical way to use music. And I think that's what, even to people who have passed, which is what Courtney's talking about. And, I've experienced that, and I have songs that make me think of my brother or people in the past or whoever. It immediately comes on, and that's that energy connection we have. And I think it's a beautiful way magic and music can be used together. And Joshua said, music, Joshua or Jonathan, someone said, songs are like rituals themselves, and I think that's very much the case. And at least I experienced them, having been a dancer, and also music through art as well as through magic. It's a deeply penetrating type of experience for any type of music. So, and here we see it being used as a way to go down into an underworld, into yourself, and then come back out, which is the way this particular song works for ritual.
Drums are often used for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, music creates experiences where, how do I want to put it, where they're ecstatic experiences and altered states of consciousness.
Yep.
And I don't think we give music enough credit for altered states of consciousness.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you listen to a song, you are put in a moment immediately with a lost loved one. There are times when I listen to a song, I feel like I'm in ritual. Like, if I'm having trouble getting into ritual, you just throw some Lorena McKenna on. But there's a power to music that I think is overlooked because we hear it in the background so much. But when we really listen to songs, it changes us, and it can unite us in a way that a lot of other forms of art can't. You go to a rave, you go to a concert, when everyone just becomes one organism, one human being, it's a powerful, powerful thing.
Yep. Absolutely.
And we saw that with Sinners too, like the music and
yes,
we talked about like how powerful that was. It's exactly the same.
I would like to add too that music is timeless, and that is part of magic, of being timeless, because even in this show that we were discussing, Patti LuPone's character says time is an illusion. It doesn't always flow in the same direction. And so when we have music, it connects us past, present, and future. Because I'm going to tell you something funny. A thing about music is, in the 500,000 years that any form has existed, it has changed. It has gone up. It has gone down. We have chanted, we have clicked, we have banged, we have created strings, we have created winds. We've done all of these things. But these same notes, these same rhythms, these are the same things that we have been doing since we crawled out of our caves. With that, Courtney, do you have some notable quotes?
I sure do, and prepare yourselves, because a lot of them are about how horny I was for Aubrey Plaza. So just to bring that vibration back up.
Get in line, Courtney. Get in line.
Oh yeah, right. She picked me over you
Holy
anything.
crap! Look at that picture.
Right. Literally, no. That's, you want to quote something, quote me, because that was me every single time she came on screen. I was like, everybody stop talking. My girl. Sorry, I was ill prepared for this to find my notes up. All right. So I didn't write down who said what, so just bear with me. I'm just gonna run through quotes here. Do you know that it is a universally acknowledged truth that a lady cop cannot be good at her job and have a healthy personal life at the same time? Hungry? Thought that was good. I think that was actually Aubrey, my girl. Do you remember pain? It kind of tickles, doesn't it? Coochie coochie coo. You can't kill me. It's not allowed. I'm not the only one who wants to see you burn or hang or drown. What? There are no new options. What is happening? Witchcraft. Historically, we as a group don't do well in courtrooms. I thought it was hilarious. I'll take a jade egg to go. You'll know where to find it. They can take your power, Jen, but they can't take your knowledge. I thought it was pretty cool. When they were summoning the Green Witch, may she be smart and not annoying and also not super political. And then Jen made a comment that I was like, girl, yes, about Aubrey Plaza. She said, honestly, I don't know how I feel. Do I hate her or do I want her phone number? Then my favorite quote of the whole series, when they were in, what was it, like the 80s one or something, or the 90s one, and the Ouija board fell off the thing, and he grabbed it and screamed, "We have to Ouija!" And in case you're wondering, you can head over to mysterycontrol.com and now purchase a shirt of my favorite quote, because I immediately texted our producers and said, this is this week's. This is my favorite one.
Ouija.
We have to Ouija. So if that's not a mantra, there we go. And I didn't mind it. You want straight answers? Ask a straight lady. She says, Jen, aren't you furious? I mean, always, but collectively we've moved on. So those are my quotes.
Very good. Bravo. And
I love
now,
Aubrey Plaza.
the moment that we've been waiting for,
Oh, God.
the roast of Heather Green by Jason Menke.
I haven't had time to write that yet. Before I start this one, I just want you to know how hard it is to write jokes about shows that you like, or to find an angle sometimes. So, Courtney, you can go ahead and turn off your light and put on some sunglasses now, because I don't love this one. All right, is that fair? But I'm gonna try. This is very much a Jason soapbox moment, and I would like to shoo the children off of my lawn before I start. So I've been a witch now for over 30 years. During that time, I, like many other witches, have been looking for a show to call our own. Wouldn't it be cool to have a show with a real witch in it, doing real witch things, and acting like a real person who just happens to be a witch? And every time we get close to that reality, people flock to those shows like flies on shrimp. We don't cuss on this show, so I went with shrimp because it begins with sh, and I wanted to fool our producer, Rob. I don't really know if flies like shrimp. I assume they eat anything. And similarly, witches eat up most anything with a self-described witch in it. The Sanderson sisters are clearly the villains in the first Hocus Pocus movie. I mean, I think they try to kill some kids, but they are witches. We love them. In Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Willow, because she's a witch, gets addicted to magic like it's crack cocaine and becomes Dark Willow, a name which sounds like a movie crossover that could have been made in the 80s. Willow's great. She even says the word Wicca a few times. And then there's Practical Magic, which wants me to believe that both Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock have relationship problems because of about 24 spells cast over centuries. I'm not buying it. Both of them could have anyone they want and would be worshipped from head to toe during that time. And perhaps this is more just a Jason thing, but hey, this is my time on the show. Also, all of the spells seem silly to me, just plot devices. And then the sisters use magic to bring a guy back from the dead. Same kind of shrimp I do every Samhain. But witches, this movie was made for us, even if we really don't do anything like raise the dead. At least Practical Magic doesn't have magical power, energy blast, etc. coming out of someone's hand or a wand, because half the witches in movies and TV shows just throw weird laser beams at each other. But we know there aren't really laser beams. We know they aren't really laser beams because the streams are wavy in appearance. Periodically, someone conjures up a mystic shield to parry those energy blasts from witches. If I could produce energy blasts, things would be quite different around here.
Oh yeah,
They,
you
u-
bet.
they use those blasts a lot in Harry Potter, which is why Harry Potter couldn't magic itself out of a paper bag, let alone truly depict witchcraft. The craft kind of looks like Wicca, right? Sort of. Until all the girls turn on each other, somehow learn to fly, and then start worshiping a god no one's ever heard of before. But there are 10 minutes in there that look like what we do. Isn't that good enough for you, Jason, you might ask? Look, I like the craft, but maybe that's not good enough for me. Maybe don't come close to what we do and then go somewhere else. I just don't see that happening with other spiritual traditions like it happens with witches. Why can't we witches all gather around a fire, build the cone of power, and send out energy into the universe to help someone, or perhaps to combat an evil? I keep waiting for a witch to show up on TV and film and help someone remove negative energy, tell everyone blessed be, and then happily go do something else that doesn't involve laser beams or killing people. Add Agatha All Along to a production that almost gets it right, so now it's loved by many witches. In fairness, it's much, much better than many of the other Marvel Universe shows, but it also has witches with energy beams, and the star of the show kills witches for hundreds of years before she stops. And I think she's only really stopping because she's dead. Billy seems like a really devoted witch, and I love that he's an LGBTQ plus character, but I have yet to meet a witch whose dad was an android and who is inhabiting the body of a dead person. Courtney could surprise me, I guess. Maybe Richard Lale. I don't think Heather, but I'm betting against it. So once more, Hollywood doesn't give us much in the way of real witches, though, as Heather points out, there are things that really resonate with our community, and someone did a little bit of research. But they're still not historically accurate witches, but at least we got a really groovy song out of it.
I'm not clapping.
I can't believe your light's still on.
I can't get over it. It's all the way across the room, and I forgot my sunglasses.
Yeah.
Spiritually, everybody in the comments felt it, so
yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't.
You know, Jason, what you brought up, those were exactly the reasons. That was what I had. There was 10 minutes that was like what I do. There was 10 minutes where I was like, oh, you know what? I do see in spots in the future. And I do. Oh, yes, death comes for us all. And yes, I can't stand those people on Long Island. Okay? I get it.
Imagine if this was a superhero movie and not a documentary. Not how we'd all feel about that.
But I think it's time that we should take out our wands, cast a magic circle, and vote. Do you like it? Do you not? Wands up, wands down. My wand is...
I'm giving wands up for Wanda. I mean, not Wanda. Wands up for Agatha, and wands down for Jason Mankey. Because he came for... Jason, you came for practical magic. Ask me in 5 minutes what I'm doing this week. Ask me.
And he thinks that pretty girls don't have problems. What?
Right.
I don't think Nicole Kidman has problems. She's too busy at AMC watching movies.
Because
she comes there for magic.
Don't make me
that indescribable feeling of seeing a picture on a huge silver
wands
screen.
Up. How many? What do we have? Wands up, wands down. Mine is all over the board.
Wands up.
Wands up, wands up. Kind of up. What do you think out there? We have Alyssa, wands way up. Agatha All Along is incredible. Wands up, even though I haven't seen it yet. I want it on Blu-ray. Wands up, wands up. My wand goes up, Witch's Road. Wands up, out of fear for being hexed. Thank you, Colin.
Listen, I would accept a wands down. I would accept an opinion if it didn't come along with attacking practical magic. And that's what I'm mad at Jason about. Let's be so clear. Let's be extremely clear why Jason's life for the next week will be filled with minor inconveniences. You're welcome, Jason. You're welcome for every red light you hit.
With that, what do we have going next week? I know because yes, psychic, but also because I asked Miss Heather Green, what do we have going on?
Go ahead, Courtney.
Well, next week is my birthday show, and I don't like to get gifts, but I love to give them. So I'm giving all of our coven members the best gift of all, which is
The Killing
Velocipaster.
Tree.
You're welcome.
Velocipaster.
Did
Right.
you just
Yeah.
drop your wand?
I
Is that
sure
a wand drop?
Velocipaster.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I think I'm busy next weekend.
There
I
are
think I'm
you.
getting
You
I think I'm getting my
better
hair
be
done.
here. You better be
I think
here,
I'm
Jason.
getting my hair done.
Your birthday, we did Anchorman, and I took 13 pages of notes, and I came to your defense and made a list of 10 reasons why Anchorman was a witch movie. You better be here. It has velociraptors. It has Vietnam War flashbacks. It has ninjas for no reason.
I
and
think
there's
I'm
witches
getting the
in it.
COVID. I think I'm getting the COVID, Courtney.
with that, where can we find you? Starting with Jason Mankey.
I'm Jason Mankey. I'm one of 4 Jason Mankeys in the United States. Google me. You'll find me before that poor pastor in Indiana.
Courtney Buckley.
I'm at the themes on all the things, and I will be hexing Jason furiously for the next week. There he goes. See, I
Jonathan
did that.
Meadows.
At Tabitha Meadows at travelerslight.life for private readings. Thank you very much.
And Miss Heather Green.
I am Heather Green on most of them. Heather Green 01, Heather Green Writes on all the socials, and I'm also Heather Green .net, not .com. There is another Heather Green, and she does whiskey. I do witchcraft. So 2 great W words, but I am the witchcraft one.
And I am Richard Lale Allard, everywhere, and also at thegentlemanpsychic.com. Also, one more time, thank you so much for coming. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. One more thing for us to do. That is to do what all witches to do. That is, we sing as if we are on Broadway. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to cackle like witches. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.